Good evening, everyone. Welcome to ZTV. Tonight is another beloved episode of Make It Alexandria with Alyssa Kovach of Alexandria Makers Market. And tonight she welcomes stained glass artist Craig Stewart, and they will be discussing his artwork and a couple of upcoming Pride events. So I'm excited to see some of his works, and I will bring Alyssa on to take the show away.
Thanks so much, Grace. Hi, everybody. I am so glad to be here with you tonight, and I'm so excited to talk to Craig. I hope that you guys will love getting to know him a little bit better. He and I connected through Emma, who is helping me plan Growing Pride at the Garden, and we're going to chat a little bit about that event as well. But you guys, let us get to know Craig a little bit more and find out a little bit more about his stained glass business.
Yay. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here. Hi, how are you?
I'm so well, thank you. Thank you so much for being here with us, and I'm so excited to dive a little deeper and to get to know you. I hope that you will just kind of kick us off and tell us a little bit about who you are, maybe a little bit about your new retirement lifestyle, and how you got into the stained glass business to begin with.
So it's funny that you start off with the word retirement, because I just told my niece and nephew this actually the other night that I retired, when I retired in April. I kind of kept it a secret and under lock and key, but I guess it's out there now. As you said, I'm a stained glass artist, a crafts person might be a better word to describe me. I've worked in glass community for over 30 years. I started with Virginia Stained Glass when they were in Falls Church. I went through a couple of different owners, kept one owner through the entire life cycle of that. We moved several different locations. With them, I worked as both an employee doing stained glass repairs. I took any and every class that I could possibly take, anything from cold glass to hot glass. I've blown glass. And I've created a passion for it. And it all started by one day I felt like I was getting a little bit OCD in my personal life, and I'm driving home and I see this sign that says stained glass classes. And I want to say that was in May of 1990. And by a year later, I was working with them and had a wonderful lifespan with them. They actually closed down August 2020 due to COVID and trying to keep the business running as a mom and pop shop here in Northern Virginia.
Well, I am very sorry to hear that they closed, especially because it seems like it really launched a passion for you, and I'm sure you're not the only person. So tell me about some of those early days. What were some of the projects that you were working on initially? How did you get the ball rolling with this?
So, it's amazing. There's two main types of stained glass that people do nowadays. There's copper foil, which is basically based off Tiffany. So you're taking glass, colored glass, you're cutting it down to a pattern, you're wrapping copper tape around it, and then your solder will seam into that. The older, more traditional type of window is actually leaded windows, which are still being manufactured. And with that, you're cutting glass and you're putting it into lead channels, and then you put that in place to actually give it a solid foundation. From there, I started with just doing basic panels, and then I started doing some box and 3D stuff. I started doing some lamps, and then I got in early on the fusing, stained glass fusing, which has become very much or more popular here over the last, I'd say, like 2 decades. And fusing is where you take like compatible glass and you stack it up or mold it into like cheese platters or trays or windows. And it's an amazing, fun passion.
Would you say that that it was really more of a hobby, or did you just jump right in and think that I want to do this and share my creations with people? And at what point did it tip into more of a business side for you?
So I grew up with a mother who was an incredible porcelain artist, and would paint on anything and everything. So I think it's kind of innate for me. And I just have a passion for making things that I know will live beyond my life. I mean, things that people can look at, and I'm providing some type of beauty into this world that will be there for decades or even centuries to come. Um, I think the bug started with my mother. She would do craft shows when I was young. We would do a few things together, uh, and kind of had fun fusing onto porcelain and then framing it into a glass panel. Um, and I'm glad you brought that up. That brought back good memories. We both had an incredible love for doing any type of craft. So
I think that that's actually just a really sweet way to get started into something like this. And the fact that you guys found a way to collab together with your different areas, but bringing them together into, one project, that must be very meaningful
yes.
for you and for her. So I love that. Would you tell us then a little bit about what kind of projects you're working on now? You said that there's different kinds of ways to do stained glass, but what through those couple of decades that you've been doing this, where are you primarily now?
So primarily now, I am having fun with scrap glass, glass from major projects that I've done. I've done a lot of commissions over the years, so I'm really enjoying making these small sun catchers, and kind of picking up a box of glass and trying to work through it and see what I'm going to do with it. Um, I'm still doing some commissions, and I'm hoping to do more commissions as I move forward. It's funny when you started out mentioning retirements. I I actually went to college and I went into college for biology and chemistry, and I came out with a double major in drama and sociology. So I kind of blew my parents away with, what are you going to do with that? I feel like I've been very successful over my career at State Department with having those skill sets along with a desire for IT. So I was in the IT field. But I now feel like I'm finally coming out into the new chapter of my life of being a stained glass artist, and able to use my art form and not be a starving artist. Um, so that's an exciting
There is
step.
that is such a very different path to walk down for you to end up here as a stained glass artist, which I think is one of the most interesting things about you. I think that not just for you, but probably for some other makers, you have the business side. You were working in IT, and that was probably, what paid the bills. But then you were really able to let loose and be creative with the stained glass, and it fulfilled something that perhaps the IT didn't. Maybe I'm wrong.
Nope, you're not wrong at all. And I look back on it and I think, if somebody in college told me that, you're going to grow up and you're going to become very high up at a federal agency and actually make it to the top of the GS scale, manage a large group of people, a very large financial portfolio, and then even from there go on and become Santa, I would have laughed at them historically. I was like, no way that could have happened. But here I am. I am a licensed Santa. I've gone to Santa school. There's the Charles W. Howard International School of Santa, which I attended in 2017 for the first time. And I absolutely enjoy that aspect of my life also. So
I That must be a full year commitment, though, for you. If I had to take a guess, I think that Santa maybe is not just a December situation for you.
Oh, you think? So as always, I normally as part of the stuff that I do for Santa, I'm very big with, or have been very big with, raising money for St. Baldrick's. 2 years ago, me and my team, I had a group of elves. We went out to different breweries, restaurants, etc., and did photos with Santa for fundraising for St. Baldrick's, and we ended up just shy of $25,000 that year, and that was the year prior to COVID. But for that, I've been shaving my head, and I in 2019 I shaved my head and my beard, and then I had anxiety up until like December that am I going to have enough of a beard to really have a good beard. This is about 2 years that I have on me right now, a good year and a half. So it's a commitment.
COVID probably really helped with that in some aspects, that you just can let it grow and not have to worry about it.
Yeah. Yep. I love my beard. I greatly enjoy it. So,
well, I mean, first of all, let's talk about the 2019. That is an incredible amount of money, and that's just a lot of dedication and from your standpoint. So I have a lot of respect for that, and that's just a lot of good work to do. And I hope that there is a lot of fulfillment that you receive from that, because I'm sure that that's giving a lot of joy to the people that are coming across your path.
So there's another aspect of that I've been doing that I really have enjoyed also. It was called the Secret Sleigh Project. It was based out of Colorado, and it was a woman who had a child that is incapacitated, and she was trying to figure out a way to get pictures with Santa. So she actually found a Santa to come into her house, and after that she started the Secret Sleigh Project, where last year it didn't take place, but the year before that she finally had representation in 46 states, where there were a bunch of us going out and actually going into homes of kids that are incapacitated for some reason or another. I have some great stories from that. I will tell you, I think the most cherished one is going to see a girl that just got home from open heart surgery, breathing tube, and her parents knew that I was coming, and they had a side light, and I knocked on the door, and she came and she looked, and she had to go grab her breathing machine because she was so excited. And it was fantastic. It was priceless. And I went down and saw her about 2 more years after that. Even though, by that point she was well aware that I was just fulfilling responsibilities for the man up north.
That's right. Santa needs a lot of helpers, and it sounds like you are the perfect person for that role. I love that. That is just another layer to you, I think, that really is just very, very endearing. My goodness. What if you, now that you do have retirement and you have less time in the office, more time at home, where do you see yourself devoting that extra time? Is it to the stained glass? Is it to your charity work?
Oh my gosh, I have no clue. I've never been busier. When you hear people say, "Oh, I don't know how I did all this stuff before retirement," I'm right there with them. I'm doing family, I'm doing classwork, I'm doing house cleaning, a whole bunch of stuff. So it's an exciting time. It's a little nerve-wracking, I'll be honest. It took me, I swear, the first 4 weeks, and anybody who's out there from work has probably put up with me over the last couple of weeks of, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But this is something that I've been looking forward to for years. I really want to be able to do art and not be a starving artist. So,
well, it seems like you have worked very, very hard. And so I'm really excited now that you have more time to devote. Talk to me about, a project. We can see some of your work behind you, but how much time does actually goes into from start to finish for a project?
So that really, really varies. I'll tell you, and unfortunately, I can't turn the camera around. My greatest project was a carousel horse. It's about 350 individual cuts, and I would say it was probably about 60 hours worth of work. Um, I think you can see some behind me. You can see the mermaid back there over my shoulder, in the moonset. She is probably about 25 hours worth of work. The same with the mermaid and sunflower on the other side. Can't quite. There we go.
And so are these pieces ones that you just decided, I am really intrigued. I can see the sunflower and the mermaid, like this is just what I'm inspired to do at this moment? Or are you working based on people's commissions? Where are you getting your inspiration?
Yes, I get my inspiration. It just kind of pops up sometimes. So I do like doing commissions. I've done a few excellent commissions. And now that we're having this conversation, I wish I sent you pictures of them. I have two that I would put up as my best right off the bat. One of them is a friend of mine has a yellow lab named Charlie, and she's got a full bar in her basement. So we did Charlie's Pub. It's like about 18 inches by 30 inches, and it's all cross panel with woven ivy around the outside and a picture of the dog's head. Another commission that I did is for a very good friend of mine who wanted his dogs into a panel. So his dogs are named after constellations. So we had 4 dogs that were inside of it. So up in the upper right-hand corner, I had the constellation of Orion and Cassiopeia. And then they have another dog named Rigel, which is the brightest star. So that's lit up in that corner. Then Danu is after the river. So it had a river coming through and a waterfall down at the bottom. And I think by far one of my most challenging and special pieces that I've done.
I'm sure that was incredibly meaningful, not only because that's such an interesting piece to put together, but you knew the backstory and who it was going to. And
absolutely. So I do like doing commissions. I'm hoping that, over the or come fall time, I'll be able to get more into doing commissions and getting back up to designing things that are unique and special to individuals. Yeah, and that kind of brings me back to where I started of I like making things that I know are going to bring joy, happiness, and fulfillment years down the road. I did another panel that was a family name that I know is already being passed down in the generations. So that's kind of fun.
That's incredibly special. And when you started 20 years ago, is this where you saw yourself going with your stained glass work?
Absolutely. I have wanted to. So I've wanted to do craft shows for so long I can't even express it, and I've done a little bit here and there, but really not of any great significance. So I originally I was going to retire in May 2020. I'd been counting down. You could ask anybody who knows me. I'd been counting down forever. And then COVID came along, and I'm like, well, what am I going to do? So, I'm just like making stuff. It's like, what am I going to do with this? So I retired in April. I told none of my friends. I did a party for May Day and had everybody show up for a May Day celebration. And I had friends with May Day hats and everything else for me to have on a shirt that says, retired 2021, not my problem anymore. From there, I went down to Florida, and I took some glass with me, a box of scrap glass. There's one of the pictures I sent you in advance has like the blue Jeep in the background. Um, that picture there, it's just one little rack that I had with me in the car that I pulled over to the side of the road to this little place that's like a market that's $10 to set up, and I made a good couple $100 there. And then I went down. I got a lot of requests for special things like seahorses and conch shells, and I went down to the Florida Keys, hung out with my cousin there, made them, came back up, stopped at the same spot, and brought in another round, and really got to provide people with things that they were actually looking for. So it was a fun journey. So there's me. That's my one single display on the side of the road in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. So the other picture that I sent to you all was stuff that I was working on specifically for Pride in the Garden. Naturally, anybody who's in our gay community would recognize me as part of the bear community. So I have the bear paw, the rainbow paw, and then I did the I love yous, the international I love you in both of those colors, along with the traditional flag, rainbow flag. I was really hoping to get to one of the new pride flags too, but I haven't quite gotten there yet. I would really like to make one of those too.
Those are so beautiful, and I appreciate the little nod to the bear side of the community. And I just think that it looks like you're having fun and just embracing kind of your life with your work and your art as well. And so
Absolutely. So
I think that's the best part. I'm wondering, so if you now, I asked you this pre-show, but I'm just picturing you kind of your Jeep, your glass, just kind of traveling and enjoying the country, this beautiful country, and stopping along this every now and again, maybe selling some of your work. Is that what you think might happen in the next few years, or are we not there yet?
There's a few things I really want to do. I really do want to get in my Jeep, or I didn't tell you this part. I have a 1991 VW Westfalia pop-up camper bus that has more idiosyncrasies than I could possibly ever have in my lifetime. And I would really like to drive across the country at some point. And yeah, the thought of, carrying a box of scrap glass with me and making things. I'll tell you one thing, Alyssa, that I really like, Alisa, that I really like, and that's getting special requests. I love a special request, which means at some point I need to make an artichoke heart for Emma Quinn. I was really hoping to do one by now, so tonight I could have said, okay, Emma Quinn, come to my booth. I'll have an artichoke heart for you. But I do like it when I get special requests of people looking for, I don't know, anything. One of the ones that I get the most often is red cardinals. So I'll have some of those with me. I didn't know that a red cardinal at your window is a sign of somebody coming to visit you from beyond, which intrigues me. So I just did a bunch of cardinals and blue jays that are going out to a Navajo Indian reservation that they wanted the birds out there for that. Yeah, I love special requests. So
I think it's just a lot of fun because it feels like there's always a story behind each one of your items. It's not a cookie cutter item, which usually the makers that I work with are not cookie cutter to begin with, but there's just a lot of backstory and emotion that is tied in, which I think makes it really even more special.
Well, it's funny you say cookie cutter because when I make something, most of the time I make 5 of the same thing. So, and people are teasing me, but when I make 5 of the same things, they're not always the same color. But if I'm putting a pattern together, I'm going to do 5 of them.
Well,
so
that makes sense. And actually, you've mentioned now a few times that you took some of this work on the road with you, and so I'm wondering, it seems like it's a portable kind of hobby, at least for you.
It is not portable. However, I can't do any hot glass that way, but it is portable as far as I've set myself up with a small portable shop, which is a table that raises a grinder, a glass cutter, soldering iron. So it takes up some space, but yeah, sometimes people hear me grumble that, oh my God, I got here and I'm missing this or I'm missing that. And so I am blessed that I working for the stained glass store forever. I have a lot of equipment, so I can really duplicate out, which is nice. So
if somebody they're watching this and they think, oh my gosh, for the longest time I have wanted XYZ project, what's the best way for them to say, hey, Craig, this is my vision? How would they work with you?
come by and see me on this upcoming Sunday, because I'll be at Pride in the Garden, a special event for our community, and I will give you my contact information or my phone number so we can work collaboratively together. I don't know if I'm going to get into teaching classes at some point. I might be interested in doing one-on-one classes here at some point. Because when I worked for Virginia Stained Glass, I did some classes there in class support and working with people to do the craft. And in a lot of ways, sometimes people say it's also a craft. And it's a dying craft, unfortunately. I think we're losing a lot of our traditional stained glass art because people are moving more into this quick fusing that is very forgiving. You don't have to be extremely exact with it as much as you have to be with Tiffany style or copper foil or lead. Copper foil being the one that's requiring the most precision. So.
Well, I, first of all, am just really delighted that we had this conversation, that we could kind of get to know all the different parts to you, because I think it's just really fascinating. And you're so fun. And I am so excited to see your work in person, because I'm sure it's even more impressive kind of when it's right there instead of behind the screen. But I hope that everybody will come and check you out and check out our other makers. And Craig, I am delighted that I get to meet you in person on Sunday and get to work with you. It's going to be.
I'll be wearing your shirt, so.
I appreciate that. Yes, thank you. Thank you. You guys, I'm going to mention it one more time and promo it because I'm very excited for it. And we have some amazing makers like Craig that will be joining us on Sunday for Growing Pride at the Garden. And it is the garden down on Eisenhower, really close to the Van Doren Metro station. But we have so much happening. We have LGBTQ community members and ally makers who will be there. Sport Rock is offering free climbing. There are there are 2 different yoga options. You can either take a full class before the event begins, and that's with Abella Yoga, or Yoga 6 will be there doing poses throughout the event and kind of showing and demonstrating. DC Divas will be there. We have live music from local bands, Lackluster and Princess. And if you can kind of see in the lower corner where the actual event is, there will be parking on site. But if you find that you can't find a parking space, there's overflow parking in the Victory Center parking, which we appreciate. And so just a lot happening, a lot of family events. There's food trucks, there's beverages, kid activities. So I hope everybody will make a plan to come down from 2 to 7. It's rain or shine. The makers are inside. So we're ready to see everybody.
Yay.
So, Craig, I cannot wait for Sunday, so I will say goodbye for now. But thank you again for joining me this evening. It was wonderful to talk to you.
And thank you to you and Port City, Emma Quinn, and everybody who's pulling this stuff together. I am really looking forward to it.
So am I.
Here's
And
the next chapter.
yeah, that's right. That's right. Congratulations. You guys,
Okay.
please come back next week. We will be here with Steve Hauk. He kicks us off Monday with amazing ZTV live programming. And just every night at 7, we have something different to offer you. And we can't wait for you to come back and check it out. And in the meantime, please keep it local whenever possible. Make it Alexandria and go be the good news in somebody's life.
Yay.